And thanks for joining us for Fox 43 News at 9. I'm Mackenzie Davis. Tonight, we are hearing from veterans right here in Northeast Kansas who want to share the things that they've been through and how they've overcome their mental health conditions. Now, we do want to warn you, they are sharing their personal experiences with the war and after they left, so some of it may be hard for some viewers.
It was almost like having a stranger occupy your body for a period of time.
Anthony Nichols, or Tony as he prefers, is an Army veteran. He fought in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Desert Storm. His time in Iraq leaving him with memories he couldn't forget.
Iraq was something else. I mean, and I don't think even today the American public understands how brutal and violent and vicious and just insane Iraq was.
When he retired from the military in 2013, he started noticing things were different. He no longer was the man he used to recognize. His personality changed, anger would take over. He turned to drinking as those memories from his time overseas would flood his thoughts.
You know, war is the absolute worst of human experience, and I knew what we were going to see.
I didn't want to commit suicide. I wanted help.
Gerald Crock joined the Navy when he was 17 years old in 1977. His first duty was the USS Boulder. He left for a few years, then came back in 1985. He lived on Treasure Island in San Francisco Bay at the time. He was also on Treasure Island when his life changed forever.
Back in the 80s, mental health wasn't a thing that people easily dealt with. A lot of the military personnel that I worked with, I'll say, swept it under the rug. And it's primarily because they didn't want to ruin my career.
On July 3rd, 1987, after a night of drinking and things he was battling in his personal life, he made a decision.
I sat in the car for quite a while, actually. I placed the gun to my abdomen. I didn't want to take the chance of my daughter seeing me with a mess. Having, done it, having died, I did not want to take the chance of my daughter seeing. So I chose to shoot myself in my stomach.
The burned wreckage, the bodies, the makeshift graves that they're doing.
Chris Dunn joined the Army in 1984, staying until 1992.
Went through circumstances over in Iraq that most people would probably not be able to cope with.
He was stationed in Fort Riley, deployed to Europe, and sent to Desert Storm.
You know, young kids that are begging for food. You can't help them. You're told not to help them. The vehicles, recognition, the burned wreckage, the bodies, the makeshift graves that they're doing.
All three of these men sacrificed their lives for the country they love, but it was inside themselves, a long battle they were fighting. Tony was diagnosed with PTSD. Gerald attempted suicide, and Chris also diagnosed with PTSD.
When I came back, planes, helicopters flying overhead, the darkness, just being out in the dark, affected me, affected my daily life. I hid a lot of my frustrations, my anger inside.
It's not uncommon for people in the military to be diagnosed with a mental illness of some sort. About 30% of active duty and reserve military personnel deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan have a mental health condition requiring treatment. The Veterans Administration says approximately 22 veterans die by suicide every day. But not getting help is the problem many of them may have a hard time with, especially if their well-being isn't taken seriously. Erin Estabrooks works with NAMI Kansas. It's an advocacy group that helps people diagnosed with mental illness.
To be able to ask and admit that you need that help is hard, and it's only made harder when people stigmatize it by saying, "Oh, that's another guy with PTSD," or "Do you really even have that?" Toughen up kind of attitude.
These men didn't let their mental illness take over. Tony found a way to cope with his glass art business, Kicking Glass Kansas.
So I always say the discipline that got you into that situation is a discipline that will get you out. You just have to remember who you are.
Gerald learned more about himself and began educating others on ways to overcome their struggles.
Just because you have a mental health issue doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make you a bad soldier.
As for Chris, he found healing by making a veterans memorial in his backyard.
And it makes me feel good giving back to the community.
Showing no matter what you've seen, been through, or are fighting, there's always help on the other side. So how can we help? Listening can do more than you think, and educating yourself and the person with a mental illness can also be a step in the right direction. And having mental health services in the community can show them someone cares.